I keep getting asked all the time if I personally experience any Mandela effects. I think the common misconception is that it's the power of suggestion, false memories. Somebody says something changed, and you're like, oh, yeah, I think it has changed. But no, I can claim personal experience to watching these effects ping pong back and forth in real time. Some Mandela effects are no longer listed or known among the cool kids as a Mandela effect. And Ron Howard's Apollo 13 movie is apparently one of them. This will take us back to the summer of 2016 when I distinctly remember a line change. And in fact, I first documented a article on this back in 2017. That iconic moment in the movie when Tom Hanks quipped, "Houston, we have a problem," suddenly became, "Houston, we've had a problem." The short of it is that every digital or online copy had been Mandela affected. Even AFI's 100 greatest film quotes went with the flip. They changed it to, "Houston, we've had a problem." But you know how it works by now. I wasn't alone in the observation either. Countless others were perfectly capable of tracking down a VHS copy. Nothing remained as we'd remembered. And this is where it really begins to get strange. See, in the actual Apollo 13 mission, astronaut Jack Swigert told NASA control, "Okay, Houston, we've had a problem here." In which Jim Lovell, played by Hanks in the movie, added, Houston, we've had a problem." It's always been that way. NASA's Apollo 13 crew dropped one line, and the Ron Howard Apollo 13 crew another. It was Jim Lovell who said, "We've had," and Ron Howard and crew who said, "We have." Got it? I should stress they're all Hollywood actors, and in both cases, the Apollo 13 mission was a scripted movie. Ron Howard's version was just a remake. But for the purposes of this discussion, we'll let that slide. No surprise, Wikipedia has a page devoted to the confusion. While skimming it over, I thought even our handlers managed to misquote the movie, but apparently Ron Howard wasn't the sole aggressor. Another movie was released in 1974, based upon the 1970 NASA movie, no less, with the title Houston, We've Got a Problem. Yes, the actual title of the original remake is a misquote. Seems like Intel was not only proud of their one liner, but they've also been tinkering with it since the get go, gaslighting everyone. And so you're probably familiar with how the conversation unfolded when I pointed out how the line from Ron Howard's movie was flipped back to the original NASA movie. People with fake profiles showed up to argue. Somebody would respond, "You're just mistaken and have a bad memory because Jim Lovell always said, 'Houston, we've had a problem.'" I'd then be like, "I know Jim Lovell said, 'Houston, we've had a problem,' but that's not the line delivered by Tom Hanks." In which he or she or the Muppets or perhaps the AI bot I was arguing with would respond, "Why would Hollywood change Jim Lovell's most iconic line?" Look, I don't have the faintest clue why Hollywood would change Jim Lovell's most iconic line, but they did. I watched the movie upon its release in the theaters. That would be 1995 for the record, which would also make me, I've got to do the math on this. It would make me 14 years old. For the remainder of the decade, repeating the line became a regurgitated teenage joke, between that and Forrest Gump, both of which starred Tom Hanks. And that's another movie that's been affected by the Mandela effect. Given the right circumstance in or out of the classroom, one might garnish a dozen laughs. Well, quite suddenly, probably a month or two later, every single copy of Ron Howard's movie decided to pull a switcheroo. Tom Hanks went from saying, "Houston, we've had," to "Houston, we have," again. And so imagine how this went down. When I went around telling people about the swap that he said "we have" to "we've had" to "we have," somebody on the internet with a fake profile would respond, "You're just confused and have a bad memory because Hollywood changed the line from what Jim Lovell said to be more dramatic. In the movie, Tom Hanks always misquoted the original mission. And so, from an insider's glance, this is the madness to the Mandela effect. I will remind you that the Apollo 13 quote isn't even listed. I don't see it on any boards or lists anymore for a Mandela effect. It is no longer a Mandela effect. But whatever the line was, whatever Tom Hanks ultimately said in the movie, it was difficult finding anybody who would agree that that's not the way it used to be. They would always just fall under the camp of, well, you're the one with the bad memory. That's the madness of the Mandela effect.